online? Are we online? Hey, we're up. Hey, everybody. Me and Nick are back after a good long ass break. From how long were we out? Like 2 years?
Oh yeah.
2 years since we last did one of these? God, it's been a long time. But me and Nick are back to just catch up with each other. It's been 2 years since we last recorded one of these. We want to get back into it. Oh, man. So, we were talking earlier a little bit about Modern Warfare, Call of Duty games, and their campaigns, but I want to talk a little bit about the consoles that you play them on. Because I just spent a shite ton of money on shit.
I mean, I got the what is it? The Xbox Series X when I moved out.
Yeah,
It cost me like $300. It's a pretty good console, I think so. It's just with most games, the storage on it is terrible. So I got a storage unit that has 2 TB on it.
ooh, yeah, yeah. I haven't upgraded from the PS4 yet, though. I recently did though build a flight simulator off it, which I did post a video about, maybe like 10-minute video with me dogfighting in it. But the flight simulator is awesome, but yeah, the storage on the console itself is gobshite. I need to get an external hard drive, but the ones that are compatible with the PlayStation right now are ridiculously expensive. Like I was looking at one and it was 400, $500 for 3 or 4 terabytes of stuff. It was stupid.
Yeah. I mean, the one I got, I just went down to Best Buy and I think I spent like 40, $50 on it.
Oh,
And I
damn.
mean, it's 2 TB. So, I mean, I don't have to worry about it for a long time.
Yeah. No, I actually did stop by Best Buy the other day. I was gonna buy a new set of earbuds because my Bluetooth ones I blew up while I was working on it at Harley, and I was walking around there and they had a bunch of their old like display computers and TVs and monitors all up for sale as open box damaged. And I went over to one of the guys and was like, "Are these really for sale?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, you want one?" I was like, "Shit, what can you do? What deal can you make me want to buy a normally $980 computer?" But he took like $400 off the price and then knocked another 10% off that. It was nuts. Like Best Buy has good deals.
Yeah, I got my monitor. I mean, I got pretty much all my stuff on them.
Yeah, I mean, I upgraded to from my old like i3 Intel laptop to a really nice i5 touchscreen that I'm working on right now. And it does everything I need it to flawlessly, like without fail. I had Photoshop running on it with Discord and YouTube and OBS. I was all working on that stuff trying to get it set up, and it did it all without using up too much of its CPU, without heating up. The fan wasn't going. It's nice. I really like it. I just wish it was bigger.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting into buying a laptop.
Yeah, dude, Best Buy right now, the one over on by the Chapel Hills Mall, their open box deals right now are absolutely nuts. I'd go there if you want to get something.
I might check it out.
Like that's where I got my computer, and they gave me like $400 off plus an extra 10%. They were awesome. It didn't come with a cable, but they stole a cable off of another open box computer and gave it to me without charge. They were
That's
great.
pretty cool.
Yeah. No, and I spent another $90 on a boom arm for my mic, and I want to get a capture card, but those are way too much right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I have a couple buddies. building PCs, and it's outrageous of what they spend on for just like a part.
Oh yeah, no, Ryan was telling me how much his PC build cost because that's what I was gonna do originally for this show was to upgrade to a really nice PC, get like 3 or 4 monitors going, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I spent like $1,400 on the PC, and another 200 on both monitors, and another 100 on my mic, and this much," and I was like, "I'm good, I'm done. I'll just stick with the cheap stuff and make it work."
Yeah.
So another thing I want to talk about today is adult life. Now that we're over 18 and actually have to be responsible,
Oh, jeez. That freaking sucks.
it's awful. I filed my taxes months ago and just got like an email the other day that like, "Hey, your taxes are being processed." And I'm like, "But I need the tax return to buy a car." This was months
I didn't
ago.
even get any. I didn't even get any tax return. My freaking employer didn't even pay my state taxes, so I owed like $578.
Oof.
And then for my federal, I got back 75, 120.
Yeah, dude, talk to your boss and tell him about that shit. Cause that,
Oh,
yeah, dude,
what's
tell.
even funny about that is I'm not even employed there anymore.
Uh, yeah,
What
no.
they did is we got a new manager, so they fired a crap load of people,
Oh, to pay for
and
their new salary.
I guess I don't freaking know. Well, the funny thing is, like, I was making 1420. My buddy was making like 1480, and we both. Well, I've been there for like 2 years. He's been there for like a year and a half, and
Uh,
then the new people that they're getting in, because we're low. That building is so low staffed that if you go in, there's like nobody there. But all the new people are like 15 or higher an hour. So it's like, why get rid of the people that you are paying cheap for and replace them with people who are less experienced and more expensive?
hmm. I went through a similar thing when I was working with Harley. Um, like most of the people I worked with at Harley, at Pikes Peak Harley Davidson, were great people. I loved working with them and I loved working there, except for this one manager that I had to work with, and like the service manager that I worked with was great. Sales managers were awesome. Floor manager was awesome. It was just this one guy who was like in charge of finances or something. And he called me into his office like 6 days in a row to tell me that I wasn't doing my job. And they were all days that it was that week that we had just nonstop snow. And of course, in nonstop snow, you're not going to have people on their $30,000 bikes coming in to buy a jacket. They're going to stay at home. And he was like, "You're not doing your job. We're not washing enough bikes. We're not detailing enough bikes. We don't have any bikes in service." And I'm like, "How is that my fault?" And so he switched me from sales to service, and then to floor technician, which is just cleaning bikes and making sure they're not leaking. It was boring as shit. But he kept me on minimum wage to do all this extra work. And one day I came in and my sales manager was just like, "Dude, he wants to fire you so bad." And was like, "He's had every opportunity to, and he hasn't." So I walked in there one day and just up and quit, and then visited like 2 weeks later, and they had replaced me with a guy that they were paying the part-time minimum wage for. And this was right after they raised minimum wage too. Like it used to be what, $13 an hour, and they raised, or no, it used to be $11 an hour, and they raised it to 12. I was getting paid $11 an hour. They've hired this guy in high school part time, and they can pay him less money to get the same amount of work done. That's why they're doing it. They're hiring these people part time.
Oh yeah. I worked like in the receiving area, so and then once I left, I went to a different department, I was still seen as like a grunt, and I would be working in one department, they would be like throwing me around. I'm doing other people's jobs. I'm working receiving still, even though I'm not in there anymore. I'm working all these other departments, and nobody else they can do that with because nobody else knows or doesn't even have experience in any other area. And they still would like, yeah, you, and then like these other people that I can like do the same thing to with.
Yeah,
And then
it's
people are just quitting now because things are getting too heated, so they barely have any people. They can't hire people.
yeah.
So it's just going bad.
There's a guy that I watch every once in a while on TikTok who rolls up, and he's like, people nowadays, like high schoolers and college kids right now, are taking no shit at work. Like he had a he was talking about a buddy he had at work that's only issue was don't insult Harry Potter, and boss said it sucked and he quit on the spot.
Freaking odd.
Like that is a stupid reason to quit, but I respect it nonetheless.
It's respectable, but it's also like people's situations. Like I'm not home. I pay rent. I gotta pay for my food. I gotta pay for my gas. Like everything. I'm independent on myself.
Yeah, and I
But
mean
the
something that I was talking with my parents about is my dad is like, you need to move out and pay rent somewhere else, and I'm like, why? Within the next 3 months, I'm going to be shipped off to basic training for Air Force. Why should I pay rent for maybe 2 months of cleaning your house? Like, I
I
think
mean, and
it's I think it's perfectly fine for kids out of high school to stay with their parents through college or take a gap year and stay with their parents. I think that's perfectly fine. It's cheaper.
well, the other thing is like I was actually thinking about this earlier, and I think we should uh maybe bring it up, but like the benefactors of school. Like, yeah, I got out of high school. I had a couple of months, and then my parents told me, get out.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough, I had this amazing girlfriend, and like her mom would help me with my taxes. I didn't know how to do taxes. I didn't know how to do all like anything because they don't teach it in school, and I didn't have anyone to teach me. So
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have them in my life to teach me. But if I didn't have them, dude, I would have been screwed.
Oh yeah. Like I am baffled by the fact that schools don't teach basic financial stuff anymore. Like I'm baffled that that is not a required class. I think it's stupid. I think it's totally ridiculous that we have to spend. I mean, what do we spend? How many days do we spend in school? Like 200 days? Something like that. Close to 200 days in high school, taking biology and 4 years worth of PE and language arts, and come out, don't use any of it, but then turn 18 and suddenly it's like, oh, you've got $30,000 of taxes to pay off that you don't know how to do, and you can't call the IRS for help. Good luck. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I took personal finance and business, and I'm so freaking glad I did, but I still don't really know how to do my taxes. I kind of know how to I kind of know how to do it, but I don't know it well enough to do on my own. I send it to someone else to do and buy them a really nice dinner and they get it done in a couple hours at a time. It's so much easier to do that.
Oh yeah.
Like,
It's amazing though, because we learn. I mean, to be honest, I don't remember anything much about high school, but like we learned so much, and it's not none of it's really like yeah, we learn about history and stuff like that. It's like cool, yeah. So like, but like I'm not gonna be in Congress. I'm not gonna have to. I won't be able to make those decisions of like repeating history. So I would rather learn how to do a check, how to
yeah,
pay
how to
my
balance
taxes,
a tech,
how to,
like
How
I
do you know if
think
I'm being scammed out of an apartment or something? If I'm being overcharged for things like,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
yeah, I mean, we all know Adrian. Adrian's been on the show. He was a big part of the show, and he came down here to do that dirt bike thing with me, which the other two people that were supposed to come with he and I ended up bailing out because it snowed. But I mean, we went out there and we dirt biked, and he was talking about his living situation at school, and he's got maybe $200 to his name right now because his rent takes all of it. He gets a paycheck and he gives all of it to rent.
oh yeah,
It's like he was in a two-bedroom apartment for a while, living it with his mom while his dad was on tour, and they were paying like $2,600 a month, which isn't bad for a two-bedroom apartment. That's not horrible, but it's not great either. But they couldn't afford it. He switched over to a single bedroom, and he's paying maybe 26 now. Like he's got a $200 difference between his rent now and his rent then, and he still can't afford it. It's
oh yeah.
ridiculous. But yeah, we had a that dirt bike trip was something else. Like it snowed the day of that we were going down there. He met me at the property at like I don't know 8:30. He got down there. It was snowing really heavy. I think we got like 10 inches of snow that night, and so we spent all of the first day inside playing on my Xbox, making food, like great time. And by 1 o'clock that day, all of the snow had melted off. It was great riding, but we both got stuck in some mud and had to lift it out. It was a pain in the ass to lift a 400-pound bike out of a mud pit.
Yeah, I just been stuck at work.
Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry about that, everybody. My mom was getting me food.
Nice.
Yeah, she's grabbing Chick-fil-A for dinner, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I've been just non-stop stuck at work.
yeah, work sucks. Work. I
The thing is though, which I found I mean I have a specific technique, but I have never really had a I mean I applied to when I got because it was like I didn't know I was getting like fired and stuff like that. So when it happened, I was like immediately, everything hits you. You go, oh, I have rent coming up. Am I going to be able to pay rent? And then, so you're
yeah,
kind of
it's an oh
panicking.
shit moment.
That same day, I got, I came in, my shift started at like 10 or 9 o'clock. I was working for an hour. They called me up and they fired me. That same day, I went to 4 different places and I was able to get hired at any of those 4 places. And then I went with the place I am with now, which I got. It's Keen Supers, because with my experience with receiving and retail, I can get 19.50 an hour.
That's good money, dude.
Oh
That's
yeah,
really good money.
the only problem with them is the hours now is a bit tougher, but I'll take. They always offer like they always have so much to do, so I usually get overtime
Oh
and
yeah.
I work more than part-time hours, which helps.
Yeah,
But
I'll take more hours of work over sitting at home because they don't have shit for me to do. I will take working harder over that any day of the week.
oh yeah, I was going nuts because like I got hired at this place, but I mean I had to wait for paperwork to go through, so I was like for a good half of a week just like being frustrated because I'm like I don't want to play games. I want to go work, make money, and be able. I was still worried about am I going to make rent for this month because I need to start working and I need my paychecks to start coming in as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But what makes me so interesting is how a lot of people have trouble finding jobs, and I don't have anything special like on my thing. Like I applied to some restaurants, which my background has nothing to do with restaurants, and I was even able to get those jobs. And what I do is I don't apply online. I go in person and I find the manager that like hires people and I talk to them. And I know exactly what they're going to tell me. I know exactly what's going on. It's part of my plan. They tell me, "Oh, you know, they do a little bit of like because they go, okay, so you want to be here, you want to work here, so they have you fill out a little bit of paperwork already, and then they tell you go online and apply, and then I ask for like a direct phone number to them, and then I go online, I apply the same day, I call them back the same day, and I say, hey, I applied, and then they said, okay, I'm going to look at it, and then I'm going to put it through the system, and then we'll call you once everything's done. Right there, I'm hired.
Yeah. I
I had all 4 places in one day just because I did that way. Because one, I showed up. Two, they gave me a task and I completed it the same day, and I called them to let them know. So I'm following up, and then boom, I have that job.
yeah. I mean, I'm struggling to find a job right now. I've applied at like 6 or 7 different places in the last month or in the last
Go in person.
2 weeks. I have like 3 of the places that I went to apply at. I went and they had hiring signs up and was like, "Hey, I want to speak to your hiring manager." And they said, "Oh, you have to fill out an online application first." And I was like, "Really? Because your sign says ask a manager." And they said, "Yeah, but you have to fill out an online form first." And I was like, "I want to see your hiring manager." And their hiring manager came over and was like, "Yeah, you have to fill out the online form before I can talk to you." I'm like, "Well, that's stupid. That defeats the whole purpose, the whole point of having a help wanted sign that says go talk to the manager."
Oh yeah.
It's
I don't know if it's just I'm been lucky with jobs or not, but I just do that. And I haven't had anyone that rejected me and said no, just apply online. They usually really like if the place really needs people. Well, this is the thing. If they really want people, they will be really freaking nice to you
yeah,
and get doing whatever you need to do to get in.
yeah.
So,
I mean, one of the places I applied was Goodwill because they're always friggin' hiring. There's not a single Goodwill on this planet that has enough people to work it right now.
oh yeah.
And their website is crap. It's so bad. I spent like 30 minutes trying to get the website to work and finished all of their forms, and at the very bottom it says submit. And I would hit submit, and I would go, like, it wouldn't redirect me, it didn't load, it didn't do anything. So I have no idea if it went in and sent or not.
I know. I mean, I work at King Supers. I don't know if it's because of the managers I have, and I mean, I have some really nice managers. Of course, I have that one that's I got that person off my back finally, but now they're just bugging this. They just went off to the next person they could mess with.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not that bad. Especially like the one I'm at, it's a small King Supers, but oh my, I just restock shelves and I come in at like every night. I go in and do it, and it is so empty every night, and there's so much freight to go. It's insane. I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's by a school, by like a YMCA. It's by a park, so it has all these there's a lot of housing, so there's a lot of people in that area. But what amazes me is they they still don't have half of the technology that every business has.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
They
Um,
are just now getting Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi doesn't even work.
I worked at a place like that for a bit. I was up so for the winter season, I was working up at uh, Sipapu ski area up in New Mexico, and I mean that's where I learned to ski. It's a great ski area, but they were struggling with getting enough people to run the ski area. And I was over there having dinner with my grandparents one night, and their buddy who runs the ski lift operations down there was having dinner with us, and he was complaining about how people aren't showing up, how people show up late, how they leave early, how they're not doing their job, and how they don't have enough people to run the mountain all the time. And I was like, hey, I can come back in like 2 days if you hire me tonight. And it was like, done. Fill out the paperwork, come back in 2 days. And I worked there for 2 or 3 months until the ski season ended. And for the most part, it was great. I mean, some of the shacks had Wi-Fi. Most of them did. Some of them didn't. I think there was like 3 or 4 that didn't have Wi-Fi. But I mean, my last day working at that place, I kind of had the same manager deal where they bug you until you get them off your back, and then they go bug the next person, and then the next person, and the next person. But on my very last day working there, I had one of the ski patrol people come up to me and was complaining that my offload ramp for the ski lift was in terrible condition. And I looked at it because I had just worked it, and it looked perfect to me. So I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he kept complaining to me and my manager like all day long. And I was like, it looks fine to me. It looks smooth. It doesn't look icy. It's level. I don't know what's wrong with it. What's bad? And finally, my manager sent someone up to go ski it, and he got off and was like, "So how was it?" And he was like, "Oh, the ramp's in perfect condition." So we told my manager that, and next time I saw the ski patrol guy, he was like red in the face and flustered. Looked like he had cried a bit. I was like, yeah, like I understand if you're bored as ski patrol, you don't have anything to do if no one's getting hurt, but that doesn't mean you should bitch and moan about everybody else's job.
Oh yeah,
I hate working with people like that. I hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it.
because where I work, if I gotta make sure everything's straight, everything's thing. This person was on I had one box in an aisle that wasn't there was a centimeter away from the edge, and they would be like, "No, it's terrible. You gotta redo it."
Yeah, they'd freak
And then
out
I just
and
went,
have an aneurysm.
and then I just was like, "Well, I don't know what the heck you're talking about." I didn't say that. I was like, "Okay, I'll fix it." And then I went to another manager and was like, "Hey, just to let you know, this manager said this. I can't figure out the problem. They're not showing me what they said. I have to redo the whole thing. It doesn't I don't have to do the whole thing. I don't know what they're talking about." And the manager walked it and was like, "It looks fine, but you do have this one box that isn't perfectly with the wall."
Yeah,
And he pointed it
it's
out, and I was like, "Okay." And then I moved it like a centimeter forward, and he was like, "Yeah, that's not too big of an issue, but like this is what was wrong." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you." We were both just fixing it just so that manager would shut up, pretty much. And I mean,
yeah.
I'll we have to throw 50 bucks at like a minute a box, and I'm doing that. So like in an hour, I'll be throwing 60 boxes, depending on the box. Because I mean, some boxes there's tons of little stuff, or like you open it up and it's supposed to be like a nice display thing, but like all like those flavor things you like squirt into your water. They're usually on this nice cardboard little placard thing. And sometimes when you open it, they're like all over the place and they're not on the placard, so you gotta replacard it. So like sometimes I don't do a box a minute. So I'll end up doing like 50 um 50 boxes an hour. And this person's like, "No, you're not fast enough." And then everyone else I talk about, and they're like, "You go pretty darn fast." Because I mean, I did that for like a year and a half at my old job, and I used to work at a Lowe's. So cereal boxes ain't anything when you're moving 100 pounds, what like table saws and putting that on the display shelves and moving those around. Like this job's easy compared to that.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, when I was working at the Harley dealership, part of the job was moving around these 800-pound motorbikes. And I mean, when we would unload them, I wouldn't touch them because they're brand spanking new. I only ever moved the used ones we got, but that's still an 800-pound bike that they're just like, "Oh yeah, we're going to put the tiny skinny kit on it and see what happens." And lo and behold, one day I'm on one, and it's inevitable. It's an inevitability when you're working at a working moving motorcycles. You're gonna drop one at some point, and I dropped one, but it wasn't my fault. Was the thing. It was a brand spanking new Harley Davidson Pan America, which is like the only bike from them I would buy, and they have these issues. They have an issue with the kickstand where it just comes off sometimes. They've had Pan Ams where the kickstand falls out of its hanger, or the spring falls out, or sometimes the whole metal piece it's stuck on, the whole swivel falls off the like snaps off the bike. And I went to move this bike outside, and I got up, got on the bike, lifted the bike to the central position, turned it on, and my my coworker was like, "Hey, before you move that one, could you help me move these two bikes out to the side so that I can move this customer's bike out to him?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." Put the kickstand back down, leaned the bike on the kickstand, and it broke off. Kickstand swivel just snapped off the bike, and I've got this 900-pound dual sport on me, and they lift it up and they go, "I'm gonna go tell the manager real quick. You take a minute, take a breather." They never told the manager. I got yelled at. I got sent home early that day. But then they reviewed the footage and everything, and they looked at the bike and they're like, "Oh yeah, that wasn't his fault. That was on the bike. That wasn't him. But we're still gonna dock the repair from your pay." I was so mad. I was so mad.
Yeah, it's kind of manufacturer issues should not definitely be the fault of an employee.
Yeah, especially when they're that common. Like, we've had customers come in with that issue. We've had brand new bikes come off the pallet with that issue. It shouldn't be the employee's fault if that's a manufacturing issue with the bike.
Yeah, because I mean, like we have had like what was it? It was a series something. Dewalt saw, and what would happen is the motor or something would couldn't handle itself. So whenever you would run it, it would like power it too much because it's like an ultra, oh, this thing's super powerful, whatever. But the motor they actually have in it isn't powerful enough. So what would happen is that it would catch on fire.
Yeah, it would burn itself out.
It would just literally catch on flames. And I've seen one, and it was freaking. It looked awful. You could tell it was on fire because of the burnt black. Some of the like plastic pieces on it was melted, and I was like, "What the freak is this?" And we ended up doing like a whole, like half of a truckload. And these trucks is freaking huge because
Yeah.
I after night crew I unloaded them, and they're pretty freaking long. Talking about the full on semi trucks ones, and we filled it up halfway. And funny thing is, I remember unloading them. I mean, they didn't come in all at once. They would come in from the district, like, would have 10 on one truck, 15 on another, and, so on. And now we got to, like, reload these on and everything.
Yeah.
And one of our sellers actually got in trouble for it because one of because it was just anyone who bought it. Didn't matter if they bought it from our Lowe's, so not all of it was from our place. But
Oh,
one dude was furious about it, so the kid that sold him it got written up because he was like, "This is BS. You guys should know about this. Blah blah blah. Why did this kid sell me this? Blah blah blah." So they just to make the stupid customer happy that doesn't understand that it's not our fault. It's the manufacturers. They wrote this kid up, which I'm like, dude, that's freaking stupid.
yeah, the whole phrase "the customer is always right." I hate it. I
It's
hate that phrase.
freaking
Working in
wrong.
retail, I have learned to anytime someone says the customer is always right, I have the urge to deck them in the face. The customer is not always right. The customer is usually wrong.
Because I know when I worked on the floor, like in hardware and tools, I had a lady that was like, I'm selling her like the freaking grade 8 bolts and stuff like that. The gravin the what is it called? The stuff you use for cement. And she grabs like a normal stainless steel, and she's like, "Well, this is cheaper. Can I use this?" And I'm like, no, because that isn't strong enough for concrete. Can't
Yeah,
use that for like
it'll break.
support beams and stuff like that. And she's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong. And I'm like, have you worked in construction? And she goes, no. I'm like, you done this before? And she's like, well, my husband sent me to go get some stuff that work for concrete. And I'm like,
Then buy the shit that works
you
for
have no idea
concrete.
what you're talking about. You're just here to pick up stuff for your husband. You have no idea what the heck. I'm like, I doubt she even knows how to pour concrete or anything like that, or how it works. So I'm like, and then I think it was like a week or two later, I found those stainless steels like freaking rusted, and some of them was broken in half, and they were in a return cart. And I'm like, did our people at customer service actually let this lady return them? Because that same day, I saw that lady that was back. And once I saw that lady, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait in this aisle and help her out again. And she ended up, getting the grade 8 like bolts. And I mean, I didn't bring anything up. I was like, "Hi, how can I help you?" And she's like, I need something for concrete. And we kind of just had a similar conversation, but she was like, "But stainless steel." I don't think she remembers it was me, because she told me, she's like, "Yeah, I tried stainless steel, that didn't work. So what would you prefer?" And I was like, "I don't. You don't remember me, but I remember you."
Yeah,
So I got her the grade 8, the ones you're supposed to use. But it amazes me on what some stores would return. Because, like, I will open a box and places will be like, "No, you're not allowed to return this." My store, I got a freaking power drill that had a display cable wire still connected to it that was cut, and it was from Home Depot. Not even Lowe's brand, and they returned it.
that's kind of dumb. That
I'm
doesn't
like,
make
how
sense.
how do you return a power, like, yes, we're Lowe's, we have power tools, but we specifically do not sell specific brands.
Yeah,
How
I
did they
mean,
get this through the system?
yeah, Harley Dave. I've never been to a Harley Davidson, and even the one that I worked at, that'll sell you a Gixxer 650 with like they'll hold it for maybe 2 days at the dealership and then sell it to some other dealership down the road. I mean, that's what we did. Someone traded in a bike that wasn't a Harley Davidson or a Royal Enfield. We'd hold it for 2 days or until Friday, and then sell it to a different dealership in like Denver.
It amazes me. And then it was also just kind of fun because a lot of people, they'll be like, the egos are just too high, and it's
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, yeah, they're coming into this store, they're looking at this 19-year-old. They don't realize I've done concrete work. I've done some construction. Like, I've redone models, and I've redone like people basements with like a crew before when I was a kid. So like I know generally usually what I'm talking about and how to get things done. I know how to jerry rig things. There's some people that go in here that goes, "I have this project. I don't know what to do, how to do it," and I come up with solutions on the top of my head. I'm like, "Freak, man, take a welder to it." And then
yeah,
they look at me, "What?" I'm like, "All you got to do is weld that center piece together." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's smart." And
yeah,
then, I mean, I'll help. I'm not even like a phone, just be like, "You know what? Do you have a welder? Yeah, just weld it. Don't buy anything, dude. You don't need anything. You got the equipment at home." Like, I'll straight up tell people, don't buy stuff. Because
yeah,
I'm just here to help. And honestly, I could care less of how much Lowe's sells.
yeah.
One person
I'm
isn't going to make a big difference.
Yeah, I'm not a good salesperson because of that. Like when I was working in sales at Harley, I would have people come in with like their dad is a big Marine or Army vet and he owns like a Harley, maybe two Harleys, and he'll ride nothing but a Harley and he wants his kids to be the same way. But I had a couple people come in with their parents looking for their first bike and they're like, I mean, the smallest new bike we had was the Sporty, which is a great beginner bike if you can pick the damn thing up. But there was this kid who was like 5'4", super cute chick. But she came in looking for her first bike, and she was looking at the Sporty and the Iron 48 or the Iron 883s, and she hopped on it, and she wasn't comfortable. She couldn't lift it up. She wasn't like the seating position was uncomfortable for her, but I was trying to be the Harley salesman that they wanted me to be and just be like, well, we can change out these parts for you in a P&A deal and we can get you on this bike today. But she was like, oh, really? That's cool. Well, how much would it cost? And we go over numbers and it's like 20 grand. And she's like, for my first bike, no, 20 grand is not. I was like, I totally agree with you. Next door, go to Apex, buy a bike that's used for like 4 grand, that's lighter and better. Like, I'd try to be the Harley salesman, and then they'd say that they aren't comfortable or it's too much, and I'd be like, "Great, this is the kind of bike you need. Go buy this one from this place. I know a guy."
Yeah,
I don't like retail. I don't like working in retail.
I'm I'm definitely like I had back when I worked like hardware and tools. I had specific people that would look for me because I didn't BS them. They would be like, "What is the nicest like most powerful drill that you have?" And I'm like, "Well, we have this DeWalt drill. It's really good. It has Bluetooth." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." You
Yep.
can go on your phone. You can look up like it'll show you the like if the mode is being ran down or something like that. And then I'll be like, to be perfectly honest, go with the model that we have on sale for like $100. That's from last year. Same design, same motor. The only thing is it doesn't have Bluetooth
Yeah.
and it doesn't come with a battery or a charger. And like these people already own DeWalt, so they have the charger and batteries.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And then people come like up and be like, so I bought this like table like this saw and it just dies. And I'm like, well, that's because the battery it comes with is not the battery you use it with. It's a 2.5 amp. That's not gonna run this saw.
Yeah,
You
no,
need
you
at
need
least
like an
a four.
18.
A four is the lowest I would ever go. Eight is the best. I personally only use eight. My dad had like a 12 amp one, and this battery is like a $300 battery. To be honest, when I would be in the garage bladesmithing and grinding metal, oh, I freaking love that battery. 300
Yeah.
bucks was kind of on a battery, but like, and you can only buy it on the website of DeWalt. No store sells it. It's a online purchase only. And I depending on the person, like if they're just going to use it for like work around the house, 8 amp battery.
Yeah.
Yes. If this
Totally
person's like
agree.
a contractor or something, I go, hey, check online. I know you're a contractor. You have money. It's not your money. You don't care. Go online. Get if it's a big job site, get three of these. That's all you're ever gonna need. And then these contractors will come back and be like, those batteries work great. I freaking like you.
Yeah.
And I still have their phone numbers because they were like, I like how you, because I mean, at the same time, I'm still moving stuff and still working when I'm not helping customers. There's always something to do. And so they'll give me their phone numbers and be like, if you ever want to work for me. And I'm like, well, the job I have at King Super isn't that great. And
Mhm.
I am trying to get a job on base as a maintainer. So I'll be doing asphalt, concrete.
Yeah.
That job falls through and I don't get it. They say I'm the first one in line because I applied this first time it opened up. I applied and I had an interview and everything. And then they gave it to somebody who has a CDL, which completely fair.
Yeah,
I mean,
completely fair. If
it's
you
like,
got a commercial driver's license, they're going to go with that every time.
but then they had another guy who couldn't pass a drug test. I mean, this is on the FS Academy. They're strict on drug tests.
Yeah, no marijuana.
So
Nothing.
they, there's another dude that failed, and they called me and was like, "You're number one in line. We'll let you know when it opens up." And I'm like, "Okay." I don't have my hopes up too high because I'm like, same thing. All it takes is one dude
Yeah, one dude with
has.
a CDL.
So I'm like, but I got like 8 different phone numbers in my pocket that I can call and be like, "Hey, I'm that guy from Lowe's. You said blah 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 blah." And if they go, "Oh, actually no," well, freak, I got 7 more phone calls to make.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
All you got to do is pick up that phone and start dialing. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I totally get it. We're coming up on 50 minutes here, so in our last 10 minutes here of recording, I want to ask you about a couple of ideas I have in the works for the group. Uh, so I think think tomorrow Evan is gonna hop on with me, and I'm gonna have the same talk with him. But I want to try and do group watches together where we find terrible, terrible, terrible movies like the Garfield movies or
Oh,
the but find these horrible movies or TV shows and do a group watch session where we watch through it and talk about it and yell at it because it's a bad movie. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, the the only thing I would have with it is scheduling.
Yeah, I mean, scheduling is just going to have to be a thing that we figure out. I'm with you right now. I'm testing out some software to record this on, and right now it seems to be working fine. So I'm going to do the same thing with Evan at some point, but I mean, the scheduling is just going to have to be a thing that we work out over time because my schedule is going to change once I get a job or a ship out date. Your schedule might change in the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Evan's schedule right now is a total mess. He's working at school and job and finals and exams, but his schedule is going to be hard to work with, and then Adrian's schedule is a little hectic too, but I feel like once things calm down a little bit after finals for them, then we'll be able to do these sessions a lot quicker and a lot easier and a lot more often.
Oh yeah. And if like the job I'm working now, I work nights, so I work midnights to it's usually midnight to 5, but I always go up like I the furthest I've ever got was like 10, so like midnight to 10.
Oof.
So like if it's in the like afternoon or whatever, it's fun. And then if I get this job on base, it's a government job. I get the weekends off. I work 7 to 4.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring on maybe two other people onto the show. One of them might join us on the podcast. The other one I'm talking with is doing group gaming sessions where one of us on either side will be playing a game and we'll both of us will just be talking. But that's something that I can do with pretty much anyone in the group as well.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I think the last thing is oh, it's in my notebook somewhere. Is group watch section, group gaming, podcast, new members. I might try and start a Patreon. I don't know how that all works. And then instead of recording these, I stream them and record them at the same time so that I can do short edits of them later on. Um, Animations is something I'm going to start working on for us as well. I think that's all I have.
Yeah. I mean, I just do this for the fun of it. I mean, we don't
Yeah,
get a lot of
I mean,
opportunities to just talk or like hang out.
yeah, I mean, the channel is it's old, definitely. I mean, there was a solid 2.5 years that I didn't post a single video on YouTube or Twitch, just cause I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel it, and I mean now I do that now more often. I'm gonna start doing that again. I'm gonna start posting again, but I don't expect this channel to make any money. I mean, I was looking at some stats the other day, and it's like your first 10 videos are going to do horribly, but your 100th video is going to do fantastic. I'm like, I don't believe it. I mean, we've only got 12 subs right now, and you, Evan, Adrian are all subbed to it, so that makes up like a fourth of our sub base is you three.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't expect this to make any money, so I'm not worried about monetization right now. I'm not worried at like the group watch thing. if we do that, we can't show much of the film or TV show that we do, but especially if we end up monetizing that. But because right now we're not, I don't care if we have the whole thing on screen.
Oh,
But
I mean, to be fair, I can probably add one more subscriber because it's been after high school. I didn't have any. I was stuck with like a flip phone, and that
I
wasn't
remember.
yeah, and that wasn't until like me doing like overnights at Lowe's. So after high school, and then my parents were like, "Yeah, you can have a flip phone now," and I was like, "Oh my god!" So
Yeah, dude, your parents are nuts. Your parents are whack.
I don't even know the freaking password to that YouTube channel is dead
Yeah.
because I don't know. I don't remember the password to it. And honestly, I've been kind of thinking about taking it down because I went on it the other day and I started watching the videos and I was like, dude, this is so freaking cringy.
Oh, I was watching some of my old videos and I didn't realize this, but the recordings that me and Evan would do on the PlayStation of us playing like Apex together had like no audio from chat. It was audio from the game and me, and it would record none of Evan's audio. And I had no idea. I was watching them the other day, and there would just be swaths of silence where Evan was supposed to be talking. Like I'd ask him, "How's your day been?" And there'd be like a 3 minute span of silence where he's talking. Like I
I had that. My first video has that problem,
mm,
but it's my mic. It was picking up everyone's but mine. So like my first video that was like the one that did the best
yeah, I remember that
had
video. That was a COD video, right?
yeah, it was I think it was this battle royale
Yeah,
and I just had these group of I just I mean freak was doing COVID. Homework was
yeah,
easy, class was easy. So like I spent so much playing this Call of Duty Mobile because I mean we had a Wii U and we didn't even have the password that we bought it from the person, so we couldn't hook it up to Wi-Fi or anything. So I just downloaded Call of Duty Mobile. I met some pretty cool people, and then I was like, you know what? Why not have just fun while I'm stuck in my bedroom for like another year? And I just was like, yeah, let's make YouTube videos.
yeah. I
None of it was
started
great.
me and Adrian started Beach Buggy Boys hoping that that would make money, and it never took off. We posted like 3 videos, and then we're kind of done with it. But we I might convert the channel. I might delete it. I don't know.
That's the thing with I think that's just the thing with YouTube is the algorithm. You just gotta keep posting, and you gotta do it like weekly.
Yeah, the algorithm really right now screws beginner content creators. Like, I mean, there was I don't remember if it was Mark or Jack or Ethan that was talking about how the algorithm works and what needs to change and what doesn't need to change, and it's like it really does screw over new creators. Like I was talking with Evan about this a bit. He was when I was working up in New Mexico, he was streaming Overwatch like every night, and he'd get make like maybe 2 or 3 viewers. But YouTube has this rule where you can't like sub, you can't gift money to them or send them a gift or a tip or anything until they reach like I don't know. I think it's like 100, maybe 1,000 subs. I think that's
Yeah,
stupid. I think it's stupid. I think if my buddy is online streaming a game, I should be able to send him like $5 of a tip saying, "Great job, you're doing great. Keep up the good work." Instead of having to
oh,
wait until he's got 100 other people doing the same thing.
well, that's like I've seen a lot of people who stream and stuff like that, and they'll just like put the Venmo in the top right corner or something like that because you won't be able to do anything because they don't have enough people.
Yeah, I've seen some of that too, but I used Cash App and PayPal and Venmo a little bit in the past, and every single time I've used it, something or someone has like skimmed my card information from it. so I don't use it anymore. So
Yeah,
that's
I have Venmo. I used to have Cash App, but I actually ran into that problem. And then now I have Venmo. Basically, the only reason why I have Venmo is because my apartment owner that I pay rent has Venmo, and I pay my rent through Venmo.
yeah, yeah, but that's one of the reasons why I want to start a Patreon for us is so that if someone stumbles across our channel and really likes the content, which is unlikely because it's not great, I'm gonna be honest. They can go on Patreon and send like $1 onto it, but I don't know. I might wait. I might hold off on that until we hit like 20 or 30.
Oh yeah. And with my YouTube channel, I don't know if I will bring it down. I'm probably what I'll probably do is um just put it on private just so I can keep going back to it.
Yeah, I might do with Beach Buggy Boys, but yeah, YouTube right now is and Twitch. Any social media right now is just really hard to get money
And then
from.
oh my god, the so like I used to miss watching the YouTube channel where it's just people doing dumb things. They're like cussing and having a good time because now it's like, oh, what if a kid did that? Like, yeah, you're like
Yeah.
18-year-old doing dumb stuff, but what if a 5-year-old did that? No,
Yeah,
you strict. You
I
gotta
went
take
I
that
went
video down.
yeah, I went back and was when I started learning how to animate, which I'm still learning and I don't know how to do a goddamn thing with it. I don't know how to do it yet, but I went back to our podcast episodes and rewatched all of our old ones to figure out like what do I want to animate, which episode, which minute mark to which minute mark, and watched all of them all the way through. And we had so many swears in there. We those videos were full cussing and references to things that we didn't have permission to show. Like we did stupid stuff with those videos, and I'm not surprised they didn't do well.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, you're not thinking of that, especially like
Yeah,
when
I
you're like
mean,
younger and doing it. You're not thinking of because like every other YouTuber was doing that as well.
yeah, I mean when we were recording those, we were all 17, 18 years old, high school in COVID. It was the only time we got to see and talk to each other, so we were balls to the wall with it. Let's get as much from each other as we can in this next hour and a half.
I think what would be cooler is especially with animation because I mean a lot of YouTube channels um, do this and well not a lot of them but like ones that usually do good is like just telling stories
Yeah,
like
that's
animate
something
the
I'm gonna
story
do
and
on my
everything.
own too.
Be like, yeah, I worked at this place. They had this stupid customer that came in. You draw them all freaking silly and stuff like that or whatnot, and then you clean it up a little bit so YouTube doesn't get all wah on you. But
Yeah, that's something I am gonna do on my own time. Is once I actually figure out how to use Adobe's animation software, because right now I've watched like 10, 20 hours worth of Adobe Animate tutorials, and they're all the same, and I don't understand them. Or like, put a keyframe here and here and here, and then work in between the marks, and I'm like, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. So I'm just gonna fiddle with it on my own time and figure it out.
I mean the main thing that I have with like what we're doing is it's a good way to keep connections.
Yeah,
Like
it's a
there's
great way.
so much, all, all of us have going our own different ways. Like you military, Evan military, you guys are gonna be all over the place. Like what Vanessa and Adrian are doing, they're gonna be God, who knows where they're gonna be. You know,
Yeah.
also like the odds of all of us staying in Colorado Springs ain't going to be that high. But I mean, if we can all just like find time, even if it's like once a month or like once a week, where we all like I don't know, play video games together and record it. That's why I like doing this.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just it keeps us together, and then
yeah. I
because
mean,
I
that
mean we've
was
known each other since fuck like
elementary school,
elementary
third
school.
grade. Oh,
Like
way back in the day.
I know some people that I'll freaking make plans with that I known for 2 years that immediately I'll just cancel because one of you guys say, "Hey, you want to hang out?" Because I'm like, "Hell yeah, man!"
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole reason we started doing this is COVID hit and schools were shut down, malls were shut down, TV, like everything was closed, and we never got the chance to get out of the house and see each other. So I just texted all of you when I was like, "Hey, I'm starting a YouTube channel and a podcast. Meet on Microsoft Teams at this time tomorrow." And we all hopped on and would do that every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with that, we're going to end the episode here. We're sitting at an hour and 6 minutes of recording time. But thank you, everybody, so much for watching. We'll be back at some point. I don't know when. I don't think any of us know when. It's still all up in the air right now. But we've got other episodes on the channel. You can subscribe to Nick. I don't know if he'll realize it because he doesn't know the password to his account.
I saw. I have ways.
But
I subscribe to it. Don't worry. I'll notice.
yeah. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.